Hey there, this is Mike Tramp. Of course you know me from everything that I've done. You're watching Rocknlive. Well, the thing is that you're really trying to making it all fit the sound and the message of the album, that there's not a departure on the cover that doesn't represent the music, and it's kind of like the book is the cover and vice versa in that way, and so on. So I had already done the music, and the music is already an extension of my soul and my expression. So I'm really just trying to find an image of that sort of represents that and doesn't misguide the message and the sound of the album.
The little shops have disappeared, but all of the memories are still right here. This place I once called home, where my mom raised 3 boys on her own.
It's really where I grew up, the neighborhood and stuff like that. But the message really in the song is that in the old days, before they put asphalt over the cobblestones, just like you have in Paris in many ways, where you have the old streets of individual stones, that to me is the metaphor message in this song, is that is the time where I discovered the music. This is the time that I belong to, and this is the time that I sort of want to freeze myself in, that I don't want to move on. So when I sing "Don't Fade Away, Old Cobblestone Street," I'm not necessarily only talking about the street, because the street has faded away. There's nothing that is like my neighborhood anymore. But I'm also singing about the music that were part of those years and things like that, that is my influence and is now represented in this new album. That is the time that I'm standing still of. I don't want to be part of the technology and the future. I want to remain in that late 60s to the end of the 70s sort of, which were all my influences, and everything that I love is about that. And it's sort of kind of my protecting it, being like a guardian of something. I remember my heroes, and without them there wouldn't be me.
No matter where I go, I take it with me, I won't let go. Don't fade away, oh Cobblestone Street, where I come from.
I recorded this album last year, and it's in Copenhagen, Denmark. Basically just exactly about the streets that I'm singing about. It's so everything sort of in many ways is for the first time completely complete. Everything just fits in. There's no sudden time you get to something, you say, everything fits there. And I think what to me is the most interesting thing is that I had not planned to do an album. This was something that I went into my friend's studio saying to him that I have some songs I really need to hear. I just have this feeling. And we went in there and he says, what is it? What do you want to do? I says, I just want to hear it. He says, every time we do an album together, we always sit and talk about the basics of music and stuff like that, and how cool it is when Dylan or Springsteen or Neil Young and stuff like that just go in and do a guitar by itself. But then we put bands and drums and big electric guitars on. He says, why don't you just go in there and record the vocal and the guitar? And at the end of the first day, the first 4 songs of the album were finished, recorded, and we were sitting in the couch and we were going, wow. And then comes the question, do you now have the guts to say, don't touch it?
Don't fade away. Oh, Cobblestone Street, where I was born.
It's a story about me. It's a story about me, and this is just one of those things that I feel better singing about what is real. And it just happens that the songs sort of became and you know, not just an expression but almost a confession of how my life is at the moment, also where I come from, where I've been, and where maybe I'm going, and so on. So in my private life, you know, there's a lot of artists that have songs like that, but they were just lyrics. They were just fiction. Every word on these songs is about me. It's about my pain. It's about my broken heart. It's about my children. It's about my wife. It's about everything. And it just seems like I needed to sing about that on this album. You know, I couldn't sit and sing about Hollywood, and it just doesn't fit. And it's sort of, for many years through my career, it has been building up to finally sort of come to this. And even though in reality I've gone through full circle and come back to my birth, but I'm sort of reborn in the simple way that I am.
Take a walk in through the park. Kids are playing till it is dark. Right here my childhood dreams were made with dirty faces and lemonade.
Yeah, obviously that's a question that will come from a lot of people, because if you build it out from all the rock albums that I have, nobody will know that the first thing I ever did was exactly what this is. Of course, I was just 14 years old, but that's how I grew up. So I grew up in the late 60s with a lot of Danish folk music and a lot of Dylan and Neil Young. It just seemed to be that was the time. It was a time of Vietnam War. I don't really remember that time that clearly, but it somehow attached itself to me. And another thing that most people don't know, that all this, maybe not every song, but most of the songs, you know, in White Lion and Freak of Nature that I've done, that have all started with the guitar and the couch. So before, like I said earlier, before we went on to say, okay, well now we're doing the guitars and drums, the original version of the song is what the songs on Cobblestone Streets are. Back then we were in a rock band, so obviously we weren't going to do it like that. But when I would bring a song down and I would play the song, then that's how the song would be. So if I went back and I found that box with the 500 cassette tapes, those songs would be like that.
The years of innocence, when nothing mattered 'cause we were young. Those years of innocence, I do remember, I won't let go.
Yeah, I know, and sometimes you just feel stupid about saying that, because it's kind of like, well, yeah, I've gone back to it. It is just that it's my own evolution, that I've just followed the natural thing. That was, I mean, when I ended White Lion in '91, I didn't feel any more of that. And then I had Freak of Nature for a couple of albums, and that ended there. So I followed what was natural. And for those who have followed my solo albums will obviously see that that simple form of songwriting is what my Tramp is. And you imagine sitting in the studio with all the faders to all the music, and you pull them all down, and at the end there's only the guitar and the vocal. And that's my Tramp. And that's how my Tramp sounds as himself. everywhere in the world that I've gone, when I've been sitting in a hotel room and stuff like that, I've never done anything but what I am here and what I am on Cobblestone Street. The time just hasn't been right for me to do that kind of album, and it's almost like I needed to live a life with a lot of both pain and mistakes and different things to be able to finally go in and do the album and be honest and confident about it. And sometimes there's people that can do that on the first album, and sometimes there's people that do that on the 20th album, and that's me.
Don't fade away, oh Cobblestone Street, where I come from. Don't fade away, oh Cobblestone Street, where I was born. Don't fade away, oh Cobblestone Street, where I belong. Don't fade away.
Well, this is a wonderful opportunity to be able to introduce your music to an audience where maybe 99% don't know you, don't even know your name. So when you play a song and that song finishes and people applaud, they applaud based upon what they heard and what you have done, not about what they read, not about the video, which doesn't exist, but it's the pure. It's kind of like you take a bite of the steak and you go, this really tastes good. It's only about what that meat is and how it was cooked. So now you're up there, the naked artist, with just that, no preconceived ideas from the audience. You walk out there and you play a song and people say, we like this. And then you go, this is all I wish for. Just love me or like me for who I am, not for anything else.
Oh, Cobblestone Street, Copenhagen.
Well, I have a lot of history in France from when I came here. It's one of those things that you remember in your life, because we came here and we played the Club La Rex in '88, and it was a big turn because this was where actually we felt that night the band exploding, and from every time we came to France it became bigger. 2 shows at least Montmartre the next year, and then the Zenith, and then it was just there, and then with Freak of Nature rebuilding it again. And you just go, wow, this, So there's a lot of history with my Tramp in France, and so this is my third story in starting again from scratch. And it's nice to somehow, in reality, go back to a beginning again, and then starting.
Cobblestone Street.